Million Cups Daytona Beach. Thank you guys for joining us this morning. My name is Chris Steffen. I'm one of the volunteer organizers along with Michael Zaharias, Fred Burgeon. Let's see who else we have. We have a lot of people now. Sean Donovan, Joan Clipp. Where's Joan? Lou Paris, Tyler LeCompte, Silas Santos. Anyone else? Pretty much everyone in the room. Thank you guys for joining us. Before we get started, did anyone go to Elevate?
Yes, I did.
What do you guys think about it? We have speakers in here that actually spoke at it, but more importantly, not more importantly, equally as important, we have two guys that helped to really put on the event. They were instrumental in running the event. Michael Zaharias and Tyler. Great event, guys. Great job. We're having issues with the mic.
It's all about the ecosystem. It's all about the entrepreneurs.
Today's speaker is Chris Krimitsos. He comes to us from Tampa, and he's actually a regular at 1MC Tampa. So let's be sure to make him feel welcome here at 1MC Daytona Beach. Chris is working on a documentary called The Messengers. And he's also part of a huge multimedia podfest in Orlando. I don't know a lot about podcasting. It's a very cool concept. It can help your business. There's going to be some interesting things discussed today. Please join me in welcoming Chris Krimitsos.
Thank you, guys. So I'd like to tell you what's going on in the state of Florida and kind of what we've built. So I'll go into my story. My why is I'd like to build a medium, an emerging medium in the state of Florida called podcasting. Some of you might know what it is, some of you might not, and I'll explain it. But I figured New York has TV and Hollywood has movies. Why can't Florida have a location-independent medium called podcasting? So about 2 years ago, we set out to make Florida a hotbed for podcasters. In the process, we wound up creating a movie called The Messengers, which will be released in February in Orlando, wearing the t-shirt. But The Messengers is about podcasters and what's going on here locally, and I'll explain a little bit about this. What started as a small project now has taken a life of its own. We've been all over the world actually with this movie. And we successfully crowdfunded what we needed to make the movie. Right now we're in the editing process, and it's 1 terabyte of information in trying to really build out a storyline out of what we have. But my biggest why is this. My little 14-month-old, that was her chubby phase, now she's out of that. You know? I'll treasure that picture forever. But she's leaning me, my 15-month-old daughter, I want her to stay in Florida. So I want Florida to have a medium, entertainment medium. And, I figured the more we all could do that, the more, I'm Greek, so I'll buy the house next door to me for her to live. I got that planned out, so just like the movie, want to keep her as close as I can. But this is what podcasting is. It's digital medium consisting of episodic. Got it. It's consisting of episodic series of audio subscribed to and downloaded through web syndication or streamed online to a computer or mobile device. So in this context, for you to understand, because there's a few other things in podcasting, let's just think of radio, but through the internet. But it really isn't radio. Podcasting breaks all the rules. And that's why it's such an exciting medium to deal with. But it's episodic content. That's probably the one thing you want to really zone in on. Stream through a computer or mobile device. So Podfest is a conference for podcasters, digital influencers, change makers who want to grow their brand and audience and maximize their income. So we started the Florida podcast here in the state. We had a meeting last night in Tampa. You sure? Check 1, 2. Awesome. Thank you, brother. So we started it in the state, and now what we're doing is we created this conference about 3-4 years ago, and we're bringing people from all over the world to us. So I'm proud to say that we have 4 continents coming to Podfest. About 500 content creators are coming to us, home crowd. So this conference will stay in Florida. I was going to do it in St. Pete, but quite honestly, Orlando is the draw in our state when it comes to family and drawing people from everywhere. So what started as something that was an idea kind of birthed to, these are some of the homegrown podcasters. I want to give you an idea of what's going on. One is Now Hear This Entertainment. This is an entertainment show that someone that owns a PR agency does, Bruce Wozniak. This is the largest investment show in Florida for commercial real estate. Two individuals that actually own a commercial real estate investment business talk about the trends in the state through Invest Florida. Cheryl Nicholson is a speaker. She has Get a Life Balance. If you're a speaker or a comedian, a podcast is like a prerequisite for your following, is the way I look at it. Because people get to follow you as you speak to different crowds. But we also have launched a drone radio show, largest podcast about drones 2 years ago. Balancing Point, this is an interesting one. Kim came to our meeting and she said, I'd like to do, she started doing a show about ballerinas because her daughter was one and no one was navigating, the information was really spotty, so she started that. She wasn't really happy with what she did, so instead she launched a network and she teamed up with Megan Fairchild, who's one of the most famous ballerinas or dancers in New York, and her network now has taken off. So this lady didn't like her own show, so she started partnering up with all their dancers, and she created the Balancing Point Dancing Network, first network of podcasts in the dancing niche. Cash flow guys, anyone in the real estate niche in here? Oh, you guys are sitting on a gold mine. Anyone that's doing a real estate podcast just steps into traffic that's waiting for them. Make It Snappy productivity show. Productivity shows are also very hot. For those of you into productivity, people can't get enough of a really well-placed productivity show. The Colon Cancer Podcast is the first podcast in the cancer niche where we have a gentleman that has stage 4 colon cancer. He's doing great, he's thriving, very healthy, sustaining his health. It's the first one where actually someone that has it talks about how to stay healthy. There's a lot of clinical podcasts from universities talking about information, but there was no human side. So believe it or not, 2 years ago, we became the first person actively podcasting about how to live with cancer. Sisters of Flow is one of my favorite ones. The tagline is Let's Cycle Together. Denicia Hilton has Menstrual Mondays and Flow Fridays. So she has a really great show helping women and their needs. She has a holistic health practice, and she's actually become a national expert because of that. Now, she did it purposefully where it's kind of funny because it's a very uncomfortable topic. And yeah, so people chuckle, but she draws them in, and that's how she's been able to really help a lot of women and a lot of the holistic side. The drone radio show has over 100,000 downloads. Randy does it as a hobby. He has a full-time job. He just loves drones, so he figured he'd talk about it. He has a press pass now to pretty much any drone conference, gets invited all over the world to attend as press to talk to everybody what's going on with drones. Mojo for Running is one of the largest running podcasts in the nation. It's based here in Florida. Do you guys know what the #1 episode she has that people can't get enough of? What's the #1 tool a runner needs? She's done a 3-part episode just on shoes. And it keeps getting traffic because runners look up at different age groups, need different shoes, different kinds of runs. So my suggestion for her is have one of the episodes free, the other 2 should be premium content people buy if they're searching it all over the world. EDM, this is, I think everybody knows what EDM is, right? Producer podcast. And then we have Horses in the Morning. Now with EDM, I just kid, most people don't. It's electronic dance music. It sounds like scratching on a board. So, but that is a really big one. It's a member of ours that interviews all these top DJs that are making $100 million a year that are on the circuit. Horses in the Morning is an interesting one. This is what we call a category killer. This is out of Ocala. Glenn the Geek Hebert started the horse radio network. He has 8 shows around the horse husbandry niche, and he owns the sphere of influence around people that love their horses and want to talk about all things horse. He has a farm, broadcast right out of his trailer, and he literally has broken over 7 figures in ad revenue. He keeps a very simple life. All the horse equestrian magazines. Has anyone seen an equestrian magazine? Do you realize how much money gets spent on those things? Now the ad dollars are going to him because he has a much more vibrant listener base. An average show for him gets about 30,000 to 40,000 downloads. So this is an interesting case study. Maura is a speaker, and she created Maura for You, Living Happy Inside Now. And many of us were like, oh, great, I thought it was great for her. I don't know, what was going to happen. But what happened was, for whatever reason, people in Eastern Europe picked up on it, and she became the hottest speaker in Eastern Europe universities. So this is her in Croatia teaching an MBA class. And she had put this picture up because she couldn't make our meeting that night. She's like, I love you guys, but I'm over in Europe. She's been to Greece, Serbia, all over. So she like picked up a whole circuit over there, and she's done really well on it. Now, for those of you thinking like, yeah, podcasting, I don't want to be a podcaster, you have to think a little bit bigger, because people now are doing their book tours on podcasts. They call it a pod tour. Podcasts have the audience. So you might want to be an expert guest on a podcast, because once you're on there, it's called evergreen content. The content's up there forever, and many podcasters have what we call notes, the notes section. They put links back to your website, and it gives you instant credibility if you're on a really popular podcast and you're talking about your subject matter. Now, for PodFest, these are the people we're attracting now from all over the world. I just showed you all Florida podcasters. We have about 100 just in Tampa, but in the state of Florida, I would assume there's at least 1,000 active podcasters, if not more. This one's out of Jacksonville, but this is Jonathan Oakes. He has Trivial Warfare. He talks about trivia. He literally has 2,500 people that listen to every episode. Lily Wang is out of China. She's coming in from Taiwan. She is the largest Mandarin podcast, a female podcaster. She has started 2 years ago. She has about 25 million downloads of her shows. She's empowering Chinese women in a major way. Don't know what the cultures are like that, but they got a lot of ways to go, and Lily is really empowering that whole generation. Meditation minis. Anyone in the meditation, health, and wellness field, huge space, huge space. The challenge is most of your peers are not consistent. Therefore, the people that are consistent in that field just win just because of that. But Shell Hamilton has a practice, a hypno practice, and she has meditation minis. She has over 2.5 million downloads of people downloading her 10-minute meditations in their car because they're so stressed out, and they need 10 minutes just to get away from the office, the boss, and just breathe. So very popular podcast. Congressional Dish is one of my favorite ones. Jennifer Brinney, she's out of California. She was sick with what was going on in DC on both sides. So she would read the bills and then literally read like 900 pages and then tell you in a podcast in a way that was informative and entertaining what was in the bills. I don't think she could read them anymore because there's just so much stuff in those. She has about 8,000 to 10,000 people. She was a waitress before she started doing it, but she has a journalist background. She now, her podcast is completely supported by her listeners through Patreon, so they pay money every month for her to do her craft, so she doesn't have to take ad dollars. Ben Franklin World is a history professor that started Ben Franklin World. Her name is Liz Covart. She's out of Boston. History is also one of the largest subject matters that people can't get enough of. She has hit over 1 million downloads. We do have a doctor that does not practice being a doctor because he actually created a podcast called The Pre-Med Years. He remembers how stressful it was through his pre-med years, so he created a podcast to consult other people going for their, MDs. And he's now got a book deal with like Simon & Schuster or someone. His name is Dr. Ryan Gray. He's out of Colorado. So these individuals now are coming here, and I'm going to expose them to what we've built here in Florida, which is pretty amazing when you see it. This one's one of my favorite ones. There's a podcast of women that knit. And it's 8,000 people listen to this podcast, and they read like books, like Count the Monte Cristo. So there's an audience for everything. I learned yesterday there's a podcast that's called Sleep With Me, and the guy has the most boring monotone voice you've ever heard, and you fall asleep listening to him. So I called him, he's in Oakland, I invited him to come down to PodFest, and I said, how did you come up with this idea? He said, well, I love writing bedtime stories. I'm like, okay. And I would read them to my girlfriends, and I'm waiting for the punchline, but there was none. And he said, I figured out how to gift. I didn't want to ask the follow-up question, what's the gift? You put your girlfriend to sleep? But anyway, so it was one of those, those are like the left field. Well, there was no strategy. He's like, oh, let me see what happens. So the first 100 episodes, 300 downloads, which is what an average, anyone here gets started, you'll get that. But then something happened. I don't know, people just started knocking out, telling their friends, you got to listen to this guy. But I've had people tell me they're off their anxiety meds because they listened to this podcast. And then I looked it up because I was like, I've never heard of him. He was number 62 of all podcasts. So when I asked him, I said, well, how many, what are you getting, like south of 50,000 downloads? He goes, no, more than that. South of $100,000 per show? He goes, more than that. So my assumption is somewhere between 300,000 to 400,000 per show download, which is tremendous. So he could not tell me the numbers because the network called him up, said, we would like to represent you. You can own your content. We will find ads for you. And he has over 2,200 people that have given him money. Patreon, for those of you who don't know, they're patrons. You give money to people you want to patronize. because you like what they're doing in the arts, and you can make money without any ads because they love what you're doing. In his Patreon page, I kid you not, I used to look this up. People thought I made this up yesterday. He says, I need the money for the audio quality, although you probably will not notice because you'll be sleeping by the time I improve that part. But he was for real, you know, so I guess he takes a lot of pride. The stories go nowhere. There's no point to the stories. I think your brain's like, this is, you know, just shuts off. I don't listen to it in the car. Anyways, the other cool thing is we've attracted sponsors from all over the globe, and these sponsors like AWeber, Blueberry, International Podcast Day, Interview Connections actually books people to be expert guests on podcasts. One of her people that she represents, people like in this room, but one of the people she represents was one of the last people to exit the plane Miracle on the Hudson. And he'll be at Podfest actually talking about his experience. So it's really cool what we've been able to do. And Libsyn is the largest hosting, they're like the HostGator of all podcasts, one of every 4 podcasts is hosted with Libsyn. They are now our title sponsor, which we've worked very hard at getting that. This is Glenn the Geek. He is a legend. He's been doing this for 7 years. So if you've been doing podcasting for more than 5 years, you're literally a legend. Because podcasting has only been around for like, 11 years, 2000, but now we're 15, 17 years. Podcasting is very new. So if you've been doing it more than 2 years, you're kind of like, almost like a senior. If you're doing it for more than 1 year, you're still a newbie, but it doesn't take much. This is just a cross-section, but this field is so new that the niches have not been filled yet. So that's what I'm here to tell you. The niches are still waiting for you. We have a podcast that we started. So with the real estate niche, everybody here understands real estate. What do real estate investors want to do? There's only one thing they care about, right? Make money, right? What do they want to learn about if they were to listen to a podcast? How to make money. So what do they want to listen to? Deals, right? So get this, there's like 20 podcasts out there. They're all doing well. We have a guy, Kevin Buck, who started the Real Estate Investing for Cash Flow. He's buying out mobile home parks because he's found investors by doing his podcast. Uncle Larry Harbaugh, I call him Uncle Larry. He's an international speaker. He speaks at these RIA circuits, Real Estate Investment Associations. They're all over the country. And Uncle Larry's doing this thing. I said, Uncle Larry, you got to do this one thing, and I guarantee you will have the largest real estate podcast in the world. Well, every Monday night, Uncle Larry has a meeting. I told him to please take there's a voice recorder we have, a little simple recorder. Take that with you. And when there's a young kid that just did a deal and they just cleared 15 grand, take it over after the meeting's done. Tell me how you did the deal. Keep it under 5 minutes. And we're going to call it the Real Estate Deal of the Week. You tell me that's not going to get listeners. And then the second thing I followed up with him, I said, how many RIA clubs do you know? He goes, oh, at least 50. I said, great, you're going to call them all up because you have the relationship, and you're going to ask them to publish in their newsletter. They all have their newsletters. Larry Harbaugh's Deal of the Week. Listen to it to learn how to structure deals. It's not that hard. It's just you got to understand the niche and what people want. And because this is so new, people haven't even claimed something so basic. What we all just did together. That's not even out there yet. It'll be launching in a couple weeks. Once he does that, he owns that space. I guarantee you, he'll have $500,000 to $1 million per show eventually, because that's what real estate people want to know. How do you do the deal? Okay, get a real person instead of you telling them conceptually how to do it. Real person telling you, hey, I'm in Florida, I found this house, blah blah blah, I flipped it. That's what the HGTV is all. Flipping houses all day long. So. I want to invite you to 2 things. If you'd like to learn more about Podfest, I'd love for you to be there. That's what right now I'm promoting. Podfest is February 23rd to the 25th. I'm very passionate about the conference. We've kept the prices low. For those who don't know, when you have an entire conference center like the Carrier Royal that we have, the tickets are, I think the last price is somewhere around, it's like $3.99, but I have a special code for anyone from Florida if you'd like to attend, and it knocks off quite a bit of money on the ticket. What I have, instead of giving you any flyers, I just have these boards. If you could pass them around. If you're interested, I'll send you that code for you to attend the conference. But I'm also here to let you know that I'm here year-round talking about podcasting in the state of Florida. So I want to help as many people as I can to get started, because this industry is brand new. And people are claiming spaces that didn't exist yesterday. And it's still wide open. I can't tell you how many niches are still open for this. And I just see explosive results in my meeting. We had a meeting last night. We had 41 people. The active podcasters, I would say 60% of them have monetized in some way, shape, or form. If you have an active business, it's much easier to do. What's happening in the near future is if you talk to marketers, they'll tell you about native marketing, meaning your marketing looks like the blog it's on or whatever. Pretty soon we're going to enter